So last week, Coach Burdett, you'll be able to you'll be able to quote me on this, or not quote me. You'll be able to back me up on this. I forgot to charge the Rode mics before the broadcast with Bob Zdanek. Everything else worked except for the last set when the mic went dead and
Phones were blowing up.
phones were blowing up. And I didn't realize that those of you who can see now on our YouTube channel, there's this little device that you can plug into the mic and into my computer right beside it. I didn't put that together during that. I also forgot to record it. So hey, things happen, guys. It's live radio and live YouTube. I apologize to those of you who didn't get the first part on YouTube. Guess what though? I did remember to hit the record button, so this will be uploaded after this show in high definition to our YouTube channel, so everybody can go back and listen to the first set of it. Gosh, I hate my life sometimes.
Technology is never your friend, Drew.
It
It seems
certainly.
as if it's always a pain in the rear.
Well, we're talking with Coach Terry Kendall, and Coach, this is your first time in the studio with us, but Paul can back me up on this. Paul, Coach, just Coach. I'm gonna call people Coach. I panic and sweat a lot when we're not on the radio, when we're in the midst of doing stuff. So this is totally normal for us.
Gotcha.
Well, so you it was such a cool thing you said as a grade schooler, a young kid, you just wanted a chance to continue playing. That lasted up to grade school. I want to continue playing, and that goes through high school. You find out at some point you're pretty good at sports, and to the point where the north-south game happens, and of course that is a big deal in West Virginia, and always has been a big deal in West Virginia. We've had some Roane County athletes get to play in that, obviously, Coach. Um, was it then that you was it just then that you decided that Glenville State was the place, or did somebody contact you? How did that happen to where you ended up in Gilmer County?
Well, I had received, a letter here and there. I think there was a couple coaches that had been in contact with like Coach Henrik and stuff, but, I just really hadn't made a commitment. Being a kid, you just kind of, you don't really settle down and take a few minutes to decide something. But, when I went down there to Institute and was there for 2 weeks, uh, kind of developed a relationship with a few guys that, from other teams, even the opposing team. At the time, I was on the South team. Now they've kind of flip flopped, who plays for who. But, I'd met some guys from the North that had been approached by Coach Vincent, and they, had kind of decided that they were going to go that way too. So, it was just kind of I don't want to say it was an accident, but just kind of like, okay, this guy says come up and play. I'm gonna take advantage of that. So wound up in Glenville, and you know, no regrets. I mean, it was rough. I'll be honest. It was rough because it was a transition time with the head coaches. We were pretty lean the first couple of years. Took some bad beatings. So it wasn't easy. It was tough, and Coach Vincent was cut from the kind of the same cloth as the Delmer Allums and the Estes Barkers. He was rough. He was not a very easy man to play for, and you know, but I was, like I said, it was a chance to play, and uh, so I just hung right in there and kept playing.
I've often said that to kids in multiple sports. Kids that get to the high school level, and obviously, it's a much different world these days. So many things pulling kids different ways at this point, and sometimes kids I think make rash decisions about playing a sport that that I know that they're really good at, and I know that they have a love for, but they may have lost that love a little bit, and it's really easy to get somebody out of a sport at that point. I always try to tell kids, regardless of who's coaching you, if you truly love the sport that you are playing, play it because you'll either have one of two things when you're done, and we're all going to be done with our careers at some point. You're either going to have memories or regrets, and I would much rather have memories.
Well, as I mentioned, Coach Vincent, he was he was a little rough to play for, but thankfully he had some great assistants. He didn't directly coach me, as a defensive player. I had some other guys that were just great guys, and so I didn't really have to, deal with him every day as a position coach. So that made a big difference. Um, you know, you just got to make a commitment, and I know that that's something that's lacking in some instances. Um, I think we see it all across our society. The lack of a commitment to do something and finish it and see it through. Uh, I don't know. I guess just because of the upbringing that I had, from the time I was young and started playing, you just didn't quit. You just stuck your nose in there and kept going, and I guess that's how I finished it up.
Boy, that's to hear that. It's kind. I hate that it is becoming a lost art. Is that commitment through adversity? It's a whole lot easier these days. It seems for kids to just up and stop playing a sport. And a lot of that, a lot of that can stem from your home life or whatever it may be. But man, I'd love to have more of that these days. It's just a different world, but I'd love to have more of that these days.
I want to go back, Coach. We kept bringing up the love of the game, and for me, I think at the college level, especially, if you don't have a strong love for the game that you're there playing, uh, I think it's really hard. And Coach can probably go along with me here. I think it's hard for somebody who doesn't truly love, especially the sport that we both played in college, football. If you don't have that love, I don't know. And when I was there, I seen a lot of people come and a lot of people leave pretty quick. Uh, because it turns from a game into a type of a business in college, and they
And a job.
and they want to keep the guys there that they think can get the job done. And if you're a guy that's on the fence, they're trying to make it as rough as possible so you don't hang around.
Yeah, it's a grind. It's a you know you mentioned earlier, it's more of a full time. It's not like and this was kind of an adjustment I had to make. I was always used to playing football, and first of November, I was into wrestling, and you did that for 3 months, and then get out of that and go into baseball. Well, football, it was just like, okay, we took about a month off, and then we hit the weight room, the mat rooms in the winter to condition, and we had spring ball in the spring, and I said a while ago, I love football. I hated spring football. I hated it. It was brutal. It was cold. It was wet, and we just beat on each other every day for a month.
You had to tell yourself every play in that hole. You're like, I love this sport, right?
Yeah, that would be my only, you know, negative was spring football. It was just, you know, I was used to doing something else first of all, and then, it was like I said, it was just 4 weeks of this pounding, and it was hard. It was tough.
But you made it through. You make it
Oh yeah,
through.
you make it through.
You make it through your career at Glenville State College at the time. Talking about a full time job, we haven't even touched on the fact that you had to go to school at this time.
Yep.
Did you have any idea of what you wanted to do when you got out of college?
Well, obviously, when I got up there at that time, it was just a booming education school. I mean, I can't remember the numbers, but probably at least 60 to 70% of the people that were there were to get an education degree. And so, the natural thing would just to go into education. And so I thought physical education, driver education, and then I added a couple special education degrees. So, this kind of all fit. And luckily I had many of those same coaches that coached me on the field, that were advisors and instructors and teachers and such. So it made it really easy to be in that program. Uh, it was a challenge. It was hard. I mean, you had to work. You had to stay eligible. You had to do everything right. So, but like I said, kind of, if you'd asked me in April of my senior year, I couldn't have given you a straight answer because at the time, I was probably working in Pennsylvania. After I graduated, we went up and Brian Barker and I went to work for Dick Mann at that time, and we were up there for a couple months, and then I had to come back for the North South game. So I did not have a real plan, but it all worked out.
It kind of fell into place
It,
at
it all
Glenville.
fell into place.
So you have a rather stellar career at Glenville State College, obviously. Um, Now you have been inducted, correct, into the Glenville State College
Yes.
Hall of
Yes.
Athletic Hall of Fame.
Yes.
So obviously a stellar career. I knew that, but I wanted to double check because my brain's getting bad these days, Coach Burdett. I don't know if you know that. So you graduate, and where does that take you right off the bat? Do you come back to Roane County immediately?
Yes, I graduated in December of '84 and started teaching at Spencer High School January of '85, and was able to land a job and join Gary Bender in the wrestling room and Rick Hubbard in debate on the baseball field that spring and then football in the fall.
Well, just let me ask you about that. You've talked about the influences some of the coaches you had growing up had on you. Was there ever a time, or was it kind of like the first time you started playing sports, you just knew you loved it? Was there a time that you realized that coaching was going to be something you really wanted to do?
I don't think that I ever really thought about coaching. Uh, Not till probably I got into college and once I had the teaching degree almost wrapped up. Yeah, I think I probably thought that I was going to coach a little bit. I didn't really think I would get into it 3 sports a year, but I did. And
Jumped in full bore.
yeah, I did jump. They take advantage of the young guy, and that's it is a young man's game. To I was talking to Paul earlier. I can't imagine the time. I know the time they had to put into it. I don't think people realize it, and certainly I think for me, I got to the point I said I can't give it its due diligence. I'm I'm tired. It's time for somebody else, and that's kind of why I got out of it. I just I didn't feel like I could give it what it deserves, and luckily he's got it going, and he's got some guys helping him, and it is truly, like I said, it's not an easy job. It's a tough job for not let alone that they're teaching all day, and then you got to take care of your team in the evenings,
Yeah.
and so I admire them, but I just got to the point where it was just too much for me anymore.
Well, that took a little while. I mean,
Yeah, it did.
you
I
were
mean,
able to coach for
I
quite
did
a
it
while.
for a long time. I really did, and I enjoyed it. But you kind of get to the point where you say, okay, I need to do something else, and whether it might be family or health, or luckily my health was good. Never wasn't that, but I think it just got to the point where I wanted to do other things. So
Throughout that, though, you have a very, very good career as a coach as well. Obviously, a part of those wrestling teams in 1988, 1990 with state championships. We mentioned that you're in the Glenville State University now Hall of Fame, Athletic Hall of Fame. Another great honor bestowed upon you and your other coach, Gary Bender, in the last, 5, 10 years? I can't remember. Has it been that long? Is you were inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame.
hmm yes, Gary went in. I think I don't know, maybe 2009, 10, maybe a little before that. I think I went in 13. So yeah, very nice honor, big surprise for me. At that time, most of the inductees were head coaches. So to go in as an assistant, most of my careers was as an assistant. So anyway, very proud of it, no doubt.
And what year did you officially stop coaching?
Let me see. I've helped out here and there. I guess when I officially give up wrestling at Roane County High School, it would have been about 2007, 7 or 8, and then I helped a couple years at the middle school. Uh, Coached a little bit of baseball, middle school wage kids for 2 or 3 years. So I've been in and out of it, but it's been, probably 4 or 5 years since I've done anything.
Were you able, and that's just because I can't remember, were you able to be in the corner for your son Evan during wrestling, or was he after you stopped at the high school?
Actually, I was there for him. I went one more year. Uh, he graduated in 06. I think it was one more season, so it would have been 07.
And you think about that. You think about when you were growing up and your just immediate love for sports, and all the accolades that you've had coming from the commitment, the hard work that you put in, and just the love of sports. Those things just kind of came out of that. It wasn't like I don't think you were chasing that stuff. That just kind of came. When you look at your career as a player, and then you look at your son Evan, who had a stellar career at Roane County High School in multiple sports, ended up going on to play college baseball, had a great career playing college baseball. Did you see a lot of that in him as well, or obviously different times?
Um, oh, I did. I think he was, kind of held him back a little bit with football. I felt like I don't think he began playing football till he was, I don't know, maybe 12, something like that. Maybe. Yeah, I think he played a couple years of midget league, maybe 1 year. He played baseball early on when just about as soon as he could start. Didn't wrestle till he was middle school. So, I held him back a little bit just because I felt like, I don't know, sometimes I see kids get started so early and then they do it and they do it and do it. And then by the time they get to the high school level, the fire isn't there. And I didn't want that to happen with him, and it certainly didn't. And it doesn't always happen. But, I have seen kids that, were, just amazing as youngsters, but then they kind of lose that fire, and they either give it up or they just don't go at it the same. So, but he worked very very hard. I mean, he worked very hard, and that was obviously I encouraged that. I didn't force it, but I certainly encouraged it. So, he had a love. I think he had a love for it, but at the same time, we talked about it. It was a different time. So he had other things that he wanted to do. He was, he loved to ride motorcycle. He loved to ski and snowboard and all those kinds of things. So you've got to kind of, you got to let a kid be a kid, do the things they want to do. But it was a different time, and what he had to do, I didn't have.
There was no snowboarding.
There was no snowboarding. Did some sleigh riding. Cardboard boxes and hoods of old cars and trucks. We did some crazy things. So.
Whatever you could find to slide down a hill.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a different time, but he really, he did work hard at it, and I think, I believe he did love it.
When you look back on your just the entirety of your career, whether as a player or as a coach, Coach Kendall, is there a couple of moments that stick out to you as far as impactful, or just like the big game or whatever it may be? Is there anything that really just stands out to you over the last 40 years of your career?
Oh boy, that would be hard to say. I can't think of anything. Obviously, my nephew Todd, I got to see him win it 4 times as a state champion wrestler. I didn't coach him. I actually didn't get to coach him as a senior. I had left Roane County and gone to Garrett County, Maryland, and I was actually up there coaching at the time. But I was able to come back and certainly watch the finals and get to see that. But that was pretty amazing. Get to see him compete and do what he did. Coaching my son obviously is that was amazing. You know, to coach your own child, that was cool. Not that it's, you know, I'm sure Paul's going to find out. You know,
I think he's already found that.
it's a little different. You know, when you're there with them all the time, and you try not to, you know, you try to put it, you know, practice is over, so it's over. So, you know, you try not to bring it up and keep it going. You try to keep it, you know, let home be home and all that. Um, but coaching Evan was pretty cool. And fortunately, you know, he did well, and it was a lot of fun. We had some good baseball teams, and you know, I got to, you know, I got to experience his success.
Yeah. All the way through college, you were able to go up and watch him play.
I was able to see a lot of games, and you know, fortunate, you know, be able to schedule kind of worked out, and I had a good administrator who understood, and so yeah.
It's a great segue. You had a great administrator. So here's the story that I told you was coming later.
Oh boy. Okay.
So I was wet behind the ears just in my first substitute job at Spencer Elementary School when I got back from my run across the country, and I was doing some speaking, but it wasn't enough to make me, you know, it wasn't enough to survive on. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just go be a sub for a little while. Well, I went into a special ed class at Spencer Elementary for my first actual 2-month long-term sub job and loved it. The first week I said, okay, nope, this is what I want to do. And this is what I'm going to do. And of course, the rest was history until last year with this place. I am a very avid coffee drinker, as most people know. I wouldn't say avid, I would say I'm a professional coffee drinker at this point. And my first gig at Spencer Elementary School, I didn't know where I was going to get coffee. I didn't know if I was able to bring a coffee machine or where. I found out quickly that I couldn't bring a coffee machine and put it in my room, which was very disappointing. But I did find out from Lori Cottrell that there was a community coffee machine. Now, this is what she told me, a community coffee machine, right? It's in the workroom right there. I said, all right, cool, cool. And the first day I go in there and I open it up, and there is the largest amount of coffee grounds I've ever seen that could fit, and I don't think they even fit, right? And in walks Terry Kendall, and he says, "You want some coffee?" I said, "Sure, sure." He's like, "Okay," and he grabs a scoop and throws it on top of the previous grounds and brews it up. And of course, I was chewing my coffee after I drank it with all the coffee grounds. That's part of it. That's part of it. And I asked Lori, she's like, "Oh yeah, like Terry brings coffee all the time. Don't worry about it." Now I don't know if she was setting me up or not, because they were messing with me. And let's just say you were quite intimidating to me at the time because I was wet behind the ears. And so for about 2 weeks, I'd just go in and I'd make coffee. And I came out of the coffee room, the break room, I call it the coffee room, one day with a cup of coffee that I had just brewed. And in walks Terry, and we pass. And he says, "You enjoy the coffee?" Yeah. I said, "Yeah." He said, "You can bring coffee and help us supply it, right?" Like with the meanest look on his face. So, so immediately after 2 months of drinking free coffee, I'm panicked that I'm going to get like strangled by Terry Kendall for just taking coffee and not helping. And I told 15 or 20 friends that I have angered Terry Kendall over coffee. Come to find out, about a week later, I go to Lori Cottrell and I'm like, "I think I pissed him off." And she said, "Oh no, he told me he was laughing about it." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
I thought I was going to die over coffee.
Yeah.
And you also have, by the way, a brand of coffee of your own. It's called Terry Kendall Coffee.
Well, it's interesting. I thought you were going to go a different direction, but there was a time that it was like, see, I like mine. I like it strong. I mean, I wanted to stand up and talk to me when I'm drinking it. But we had a couple other people who just didn't make it to suit me. So it was kind of a race to get in there to make the coffee so you could have it the way you wanted it. So, and I've even poured out a whole pot because it didn't suit me, and it made some more. So it's I don't know. I thought that's where you were going to go.
It's an art. Terry Kendall Coffee is where you put so many grains or so many coffee scoops in that it filters over the edge of the filter and into the coffee. So after you drink it, you chew it.
Well, I don't really like the grains in it, but I like it strong. So, yeah.
Coach Kendall, thank you so much for coming on short notice. It's been a great time here talking with you. Obviously, your impact on Roane County sports as a player, and even more importantly, I think, as a coach, molding and shaping the next generation of kids is not unnoticed, obviously. And all the accolades well deserved, and we appreciate you coming in.
Okay, well, thanks. I've enjoyed it. It's I wouldn't change anything. I mean, I think back as a kid. I certainly wouldn't do anything different. I'm glad that I was able to go to Glenville and get a degree in teaching, and I like my career, and I feel like you know, just blessed. So, thank you very much.
The accolades speak for themselves. Coach Terry Kendall, folks, we're going to take a break for our sponsor, DW Excavating. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about Roane County sports coming up. Coach, thank you.
All right, guys.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All be good.
All right,
Good
Coach.
luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Man, oh man, what a great guest for our Legends series, Coach Terry Kendall. I tell you what, I wish that more kids had that kind of commitment and determination to just continue to play the sport that they love, be it whatever sport it may be. That was a fun interview. I hope everyone enjoyed that one. I know I really enjoyed that one. We'll have another guest next Wednesday, and this series just keeps getting better and better. Coach Burdett, obviously that was really neat for us. Chance to talk to Terry Kendall about how sports shaped who he is and how he helped shape the next generation.
Sure. And it's really eye opening. Or I think it would be, for me, it is to be coaching the young men I am now, and to let him come in and talk about the difference between now and when he grew up, and there's a lot of similarities between when he grew up and when we grew up. I mean, obviously we were a little bit more advanced, but we still didn't have the technology and the ability to see everybody all the time. So a lot of similarities there, but definitely a lot of differences between that era and today, when it comes to young people in sports. That's for sure.
So we've got a little bit of time here to quickly run through the sports from last week. We'll start with Roane County High School golf. They had one match. There's been some weather issues, but they were able to get a match in a 14 match up at Pendleton County, and actually, no, sorry, at the Stonewall Jackson Resort up there in Lewis County. A great place to go play a match, and Roane County enjoyed themselves. They finished first in that match. They were led by, of course, Emerson Simons with a 40, Lucas Hall with a 49, Jaden Webb a 51, Darren Raines a 54, Cody Nichols 59, and Carter Kinder coming in with a 49 as well. So they took first.
And that's a really easy course, Drew.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very thin fairways, very fast greens, lots of bunkers, and lots of water.
Yes.
Yes. One of the harder courses. I know, but they did finish with a score of 194. They defeated Preston County, Lewis County, and Pendleton County in that one. Most recently, the girls' state tournament taking place yesterday, and Emerson Simons just continues to play great golf as a senior, and she finishes in 5th place in the event, good enough to earn her an all-state mention. for that girls' championship. She finished up with an 81 on the day, but she had two eagles to finish to help her score at 81 in that one. The winner was Savannah Hawkins of Hurricane, and she shot a 68 70 for Taylor Sargent of Cabell Midland, Carrie Ann Cook of Westside, Ella Milhone of Parkersburg, the top four, and then top five was Emerson Simons. So she was able to squeak into that top eight and continue her senior season with a very nice All-State mention. That was very, very nice. Middle school football got going tough for Roane County middle school teams this week. When you look back at it, Spencer Middle School losing to Summersville 48-8, and the Tigers of Walton losing to Clay County 42-12. For Spencer in the loss, Brody Proctor led the way rushing 11 carries for 108 yards and a touchdown. Also was 2 for 5 for 10 yards and a 2-point conversion was Proctor. Cody Howard 2 for 10 with a 2-point conversion catching the ball. Defensively, Proctor led the way with 14 tackles. Quentin Cooper with 3, a fumble recovery to his credit. Brady Rhodes with an interception. For Walton, in the loss, Colton Starcher leading the way, 18 carries on the ground, 87 yards and a TD. Jace Miller carried the ball 6 times for 27 yards. Ryan Knight, 4 carries for 13 and a TD. And Nate Chapman, 3 carries for 5 yards. Defensively, Colton Starcher leading the way with 9 tackles. Jace Miller with 7. Leo Rogers with 7. Ben the Manimal Martin with 5. TJ May with 4. Ryan Knight 3. Sawyer Paxton with 3. Fisher Boyd with 2. And Ben Martin, we call him the Manimal coach, with a fumble recovery. Really aggressive player, which is why we call him the Manimal defensively. Now, he's got some offensive skills too, but I know him as a defensive player.
Right.
Yeah,
I can remember the nickname when he was down there playing for you guys.
Oh, my gosh. He has been playing football for quite a long time. Very excited for that. Lady Raider volleyball has been in action. They have been busy.
Lots of volleyball.
Jeez, a whiz. You go back to last week, early in the week, Roane County falling in 4 sets to Gilmer County, 18-25, 25-27, a close one. They took set 3, 25-17, and lost the final, the 4th set, 25-21. That was the first loss of the season after Roane County started 3-0. They came back with a nice weekend series, though, Coach, at Doddridge County, the Bulldog Bash. Roane County took 2 from LKC opponents. They defeated Calhoun County and Webster County in 2 straight sets, best of 3. They took care of the Lady Red Devils 25-20, 25-23, and then they defeated Webster County 25-12, 25-21. They lost to Ritchie County in that one, 25-12 and 25-20. And so that sets up
that last game with Ritchie was really, really good game, though, Drew.
Yeah.
Totally different game from game 1 with them. Our girls came out and were focused, and you could tell that there was just immediately there was a difference between game 1 and game 2, and really battled with Ritchie County, who's a really good volleyball team.
Defending state class AAA class single A champ.
And they have some players on that team, and our girls battled toe to toe with them in that second match. Was very close to pulling out the win in that one, and for the last match of the day, it was very impressive. And they also split with Greenbrier West. Wish we'd been able to play the third game for whatever reason. I guess time constraints. When they split, they said that's it. We're just calling a split. Really think that we would have got the win against Greenbrier West in the third set.
I wondered how that 2-set match just ended like that. So maybe time constraints or whatever it may be. So still a successful trip up there to the Bulldog Bash as they get 2 victories in that one. And we go to last night, a game that was on our YouTube channel, and a heartbreaker. We called these girls the Cardiac Kids. We've had teams in the past that we've called Cardiac Kids. It looks as if this year it's going to be the Lady Raider volleyball team, because they had a battle with, of course, a great Work County program who's been to the state tournament as much as I drink coffee. 13-time state champions from 2000 to now. They finished runner-up 3 times. It's a great program. Roane County, tough first set, losing 15 to 25. They came back in the second set, defeated Work County 25-20. And in the third set, 25-21. They had a big lead in set 4, a lead of 7 points in set 4 before Work County came roaring back to make it a 25-20 victory for the Tigers. You move to that all-important decisive fifth set to 15. Roane County had a 9-4 lead in that fifth set and could not close it out as Work County defeats them 15-13 in 5 sets.
The fifth set always gets me. Last night, we get to 15, and I think somebody calls a timeout, and I'm meandering out on the court because I had to be the line judge. And then I realized, go to the bleachers, dummy. The game is over. That's it. 15 points on game 5. It's hard for me to get used to. But
I got to say you did a good job as a line judge.
I just call it fair. Just call it fair. Great effort last night. Against, again, you're talking about Work County, who is a traditional powerhouse program in single A, and our girls did a great job. Fourth and fifth sets just a heartbreaker though, because you had the lead and you let it dwindle away. But it's still early in the year, and a lot of time to improve and get better and get yourselves ready to go.
Absolutely, and again, this is a very good team who I think is just scratching the surface early in the season of how good they can be. Of course, I closed my eyes at one point late in the match, and I listened to a very fiery Allie Peary in the huddle, and I'm thinking, is that Coach Paul Burdett? Is he? Nah, she is a very fiery coach, and she expects the best of her players, and she has obviously told us she wants the girls to learn how to close a match out, because they've had 2 opportunities to do that, and one of them they were able to win against St. Mary's early in the year, but those are tough. Those are tough. Stress gets high in those things.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Golly.
Yeah. Last night at one point, of course, like I said, I was line judging, and we had a big play, and I wanted to clap, and I was like, all right, I can't do that. Yeah, very, very stressful. Very stressful, especially when you spend all day on Saturday watching it. It's very stressful. Very stressful.
Hey.
Enjoyable.
You're a volleyball dad now.
Yes, I am.
Your daughter Lexi, just a sophomore, playing very well early in the year. So got to be fun just to be a fan once in a while, even though you had to be a judge.
I would much rather be in the bleachers.
Yes, absolutely. I keep pulling people up. They just want to watch the games. Matt Peary, he's like, can I just watch a game? No, you're on the air with me, buddy. So, but it was a good time. So very, very excited for the Lady Raider volleyball team as they continue to progress throughout the season. I think they're going to be a tough team come the most important part of the season, LKC sectional regional tournament time. I think Coach Peary and her crew will have a chance to make a run in that one. We move to high school football. Before we get to last week, let's talk about the JV. They had themselves a nice win on Monday against Lincoln County.
Yes, weather was beautiful. Not a drop of rain in the sky. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. It was nasty weather day, but no worries, because the surface at Roane County High School at County Stadium was just as dry as it could be. Our guys went out and played a really, really good game. We were finishing up practice with the varsity guys. I walk out, and it's 6-6 immediately, and then I get told that Lincoln County returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and we get the ball and go right down the field and score. And we continue to do that the rest of the day. Just drive after drive, our guys just methodically right down the field, put it in the end zone. Leland Schaefer had a great game running the ball. Clay Walker ran the ball really well, and then turn around defensively. The whole defensive unit just played really, really good. And or you were watching from the far sideline.
Yeah.
So we were able to get up 20-6, and then Lincoln County kind of throws up a Hail Mary at the end of the game, and they catch it and score a touchdown, and the final score 20-12. But yeah, very good, successful day for our young guys out on the field.
Obviously, they're just trying each week to improve, and for whatever games they'll get, that'll be chances for that JV unit to test themselves and try to get better and better as the season goes on. We moved to last Friday night, Coach. Make a long trip down to Hamlin to face off against Lincoln County, and business needed to be done for you guys. You go down there, obviously less than perfect, but you get the job done that you need to. You come out as you did in game one, firing very, very well. Well, okay, there was a hiccup. There was a hiccup after after my after my speech about the 5 turnovers last year, 6 overall, and how you got to get out to a better start. The opening kick, not even an intentional squib kick, just a terrible kick that turned out perfectly for them. So you lose the immediate first kickoff to a turnover.
Yeah, and we were watching them in pregame kick, and I thought, man, it's not kicking it very far. And I really thought we're just not going to get a very far kick. And they'd caught a couple that kind of took off to the left. And sure enough, the opening kick gets to about the 30-yard line and just spins on its top. And we were in position to make it, but Lane's coming at a full sprint. Lane Watson's coming at a full sprint and lands on the ball. And then when he hits the ground, just kind of rolls over top of it, and their guys there to get on it. So nothing, really nobody's fault. I mean, Lane was doing what he needed to do to get there.
That thing looked like it was going, like running away from him.
It hit and started spinning towards the sideline. It was tough. But anyways, Lincoln County gets on it, and it's like, oh boy, here we go. But
what was to be an omen for the rest of the game happened immediately.
Just a stellar defensive performance.
Yeah.
Just stellar. I mean, three plays and out. We get the ball back, and second play of our drive, Skyler goes 50-some yards for a touchdown, and kind of set the tone for the rest of the first quarter. And we were able to play some good football on both sides of the ball the rest of the quarter. And then second quarter, we got in a situation that we hadn't been in this year. We had to punt. And they just brought the house, and we just couldn't block everybody, and wasn't thinking. Should have went tight punt and just got the ball out, but they get a block, and Colton Paxton turns around, makes a tackle, one of many.
Yeah.
On the 2-yard line, so they were first and goal at the 2, and after 4 downs, they were on the 25-yard line.
Yeah.
So just to what a defensive stand to finish the half out, and then we come back out the second half and start putting things back together and score 2 more times in the fourth.
Yeah.
And kind of put it away. But great game on the defensive side of the ball for sure. Just a huge game. Talk about Colton. Colton had 20 tackles Friday night. Unbelievable. I mean, it just seemed like he was everywhere. Christian Jarvis had a big night from his defensive line position. Ori May again making impacts. Just our whole defense as a unit, I thought played really, really solid.
Yeah.
And proud of what we were able to do there.
You allowed negative yardage in the first half total, and after it was all said and done, one big drive that lasted about 6 minutes to start that second half off was really the only offense they were able to muster. They finished the game with 68 yards passing and negative 8 yards on the ground. So they finished with 60 total yards of offense. I think that what needed to happen was Blake Atkins was very athletic, and he made plays with his feet and then found some open guys. That's where the passing came from in that drive. But you guys were able to just be on him all night. I don't remember how many sacks it was.
It was a bunch.
I think we had 12 counted up at one point from different guys. So that just tells you that defense did exactly what they needed to do.
Yeah, we just kept him moving all night, and even that long drive, a lot of those were broken plays, and he's scrambling, and I don't know how he got some of the passes to where he did, but kudos to him. I mean, he was able to get it out and get it in the hands of guys that needed it and away from his, because he was being chased pretty heavily most of the night. And so they were able to sustain a drive, and at one point we called a timeout, and I said, we gotta shut this down. We gotta get the ball back, and we gotta take care of our business the way we're supposed to, and we did, and was able to get out of there with 36-0 win, and Coach Peary's first shutout. So as a defense coordinator, so very proud of our guys. The last 2 years against Lincoln County has not been ideal.
Yeah.
2 years ago we go down there, and it was just man, I don't want to go back there again.
No.
And then last year we had just butterfingers, I guess, all over. So it was good to get that win and to move to 2-0. But bigger things are coming.
Yeah, talk about Coach Peary getting his shutout last week. He's got his work cut out for him this week. You're going to see the closest thing we'll see, I believe, this year to an air raid offense in Clay County. After watching 2 games of theirs on film just 2 nights ago, it's clear to me what they want to do. They are going 4 to 5 wide, and they're going to stick Noah Collins 7 yards deep in the shotgun, and they're going to run guys down the field and try to find pockets and holes in the defense. And he's going to try to use his feet to extend plays and really put pressure on your defensive backfield and some of the guys who are the outside backers going to be out in coverage. That's what they want to do. They've got a capable running back in Sams. He runs hard, not the fastest or the shiftiest, but he really runs hard and is hard to bring down. So there are some things that I talked to Coach Peary last night about that he says we have got to do from the beginning to the end of that game. Number one, contain and pressure.
Yeah, Clay County's got a really good scheme. They got really good guys in their receiver package, and I think the running back is very capable of getting the job done. He has in the first 2 games, and the quarterback does a good job of moving around and getting the balls to his players in space. So they keep you on your toes and they make you cover really hard, but at the same time, it's not all pass. I mean, they definitely have the capability to run the ball and putting pressure on you there too. So you got to play both facets of it, and they really put you in a bind.
Yeah,
so,
they like to stretch you out so you don't have too many guys inside when they do run those counters and those
Right.
off tackle in that pitch.
Yep.
So
Yep. Good scheme.
obviously,
for sure.
obviously, assignment football defensively is going to be the name of the game. It always is, but with a team who likes to air it out like that, there's going to be like one guy on one guy a lot. So you just got to really be minding the P's and Q's. That's what if you want to be a great team, that's what things you should thrive on. Offensively, they bring the house as usual. That's their MO. 5 on front, 2 in the back, and they will bring the blitz. Obviously, Jacob Morton creates problems in the middle. Not the biggest guy, but he's very quick off the ball, and he is, in the first 2 games at least, created some problems for offenses.
Yeah, I can remember him from a few years back on our field, and they stuck him in at the defense tackle late in the game, and really caused us some issues. And it wasn't just us that he was causing issues to. He's been doing it ever since. So, yeah, I mean, he's very explosive from wherever he plays on defense, whether it's tackle or nose guard or linebacker. I mean, they could put him at safety and he would be explosive. So, and to go along with a very, very solid defensive unit, they attack the ball really well and pursue and get to where they need to be. Just a solid group on both sides of the ball, Drew. And it's going to be a battle Friday night. I mean, you got 2-0 teams coming at each other, and it's why they play the games.
You'd expect nothing less than a battle against Clay County. Obviously, you guys want to be the more physical team, as that's the MO of you guys. You want to be more physical up front, obviously. That O-line has done a great job so far. You guys have run for 300 plus in 2 games, and so you want to be able to establish that run game. You want to get hat on hat when they bring those guys. You want to get somebody on somebody and leave. It's almost as if with that kind of pressure and aggressiveness, they can be caught if you do what you do well, which is run the ball and with misdirection, with quick hitters. All those different schemes that you guys run can attack that, I think.
Yeah, it's got to be. We got to do the things we're good at, but we also got to be able we got to be able to move the ball around and put it in space. We've kind of lived under center. We got to be able to get into the gun more and do things a little bit outside our comfort zone to try to put ourselves in some good positions there as well. So, it's got to be a textbook game on both sides of the ball Friday night. And, we've been working hard this week and hope that, when Friday night gets here, we can get the job done.
Absolutely. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up, Coach. I know this is not the greatest subject to ever bring up, but this will be the first time that we've been back to Clay County High School since Alex Miller. a lot of these kids, well, the majority of your players were not around for that. You have the senior class who were just freshmen, I believe, at the time. Is that
Yep.
correct? With you guys, is that something that's even been addressed at all? Um, or as a coaching staff, have you guys addressed that? Just the emotion of going back there for the first time.
We haven't really brought it up yet. I mean, obviously I know, and Coach Peary knows, and Rick knows. Um, the rest of our coaches weren't there, or if they were, they weren't on the sidelines. Um, so, and our seniors were there. So, will it be talked about tomorrow night? Yeah, it will in our meeting. Um, but I think the majority of us at some point in time have probably been there or close to there. I mean, I had to go right back that fall. Brogan had a playoff game over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's probably be a little bit tough at first to walk out on the sideline, but thankfully, Clay was Coach Nichols was really nice about it, and last year, um, he said, Coach, I don't want you guys to have to come back over this quick, and so we weren't going to play there last year, and so that our sophomores who were older and around Alex more and closer to, I think that would have been a really hard thing for them to do, for our seniors. And I'm not saying they wasn't close to Alex, but quite a bit of an age gap, and hadn't got to spend a lot of time with him. I mean, obviously they knew him, and I'm not saying they didn't have a relationship, because they very well may have.
But that group of guys from last year that
Yeah, those
graduated.
guys had been there with Alex for at least a year, a year and a half, and so they were close. And when you're on a team that long, you're supposed to be close. So we'll talk about it tomorrow night. But I for me, it doesn't matter where we play at, Drew. It doesn't matter where we play. That night will always be in my mind.
Yeah.
I told our guys Friday night after the ball game, you know, no matter the outcome of the ball game, if every one of my guys stands up and walks off the field with me, it's as good as a win to this guy.
I've interviewed you quite a lot in the years preceding that event, and it's absolutely true. Something has changed, and again, that's probably for the better as far as perspective is concerned and things like that. As long as that happens, as long as those guys come off the field with you, then wins and losses, although important, there's just a different perspective on that, and you as a leader and as a coach, and so. And the cool thing is in the memory of Alex, we've already been able to honor him throughout these last couple of years with getting back on the field playing. And this will be, I think, just another step in that. Just reminding ourselves that everything's going to be okay. We're going to continue to honor that young man's memory for the rest of our lives, anybody who he touched. And so one thing that you do is you go back and you get back to life and you go back there and you play. You have it in your mind at the beginning, pregame, whatever it may be. You take your time for that, and then you got to get down to business. And boy, I can just imagine if you didn't, he'd be pretty ticked off at you for not. So an opportunity to go there real quick, do that, honor that in your minds, however people want to do it, and then get down to business and play some football against a 2-0 team.
Yeah, it's going to be nothing short of a battle, I'm sure. Two 2-0 teams squaring off, and probably be a lot of eyes from the state on that game Friday night, just as it was when we played St. Mary's in week 1. So still got work to do to get ready for it, but definitely looking forward to Friday and what's to come there.
Hey, how about you put on your weatherman hat? I know at home it doesn't matter anymore, but you're going on the road, and this field at Clay County has had some problems. Obviously, it's had some issues in the past. It does not handle water very well. Now, we were supposed to get a lot more bad weather this week than we did here in town. Hopefully, that's been the same over in Clay County. But when you step on the field, at 7:30 for the kickoff. What's the weather going to be like?
Well, like you said, it was supposed to be it's supposed to rain all day today and a chance tomorrow and then clear on Friday. But however, the good Lord allowed it not to rain today, and tomorrow is going to be beautiful. Friday is going to be beautiful. And not only that, the humidity is dropping with the front coming through today. So
Might
about,
actually get some good
about
weather.
82, 83 on Friday, low humidity. Maybe it'll feel like a regular September night football game.
Boy, I would love to have that. Coach, thank you for joining us again. Thanks for filling in for my idiot buddies. Who
Hey,
just
as long
decided
as they
we're not-
know that their paycheck is coming to me this week.
Yeah, both of them.
Yes,
Both
yeah,
of
I'm
'em.
double dipping.
We're combining those two.
Yep. Sorry,
Folks,
John. Sorry, Matt.
it's been a another great episode. We appreciate Coach Terry Kendall for coming in. Well, we're going to continue with that Legends series as long as we can get guests in here, because I know for us it's a blast. It's really informative and just fun talking to these legends of Roane County. And I hope that all of you out there in Radio Land and out in YouTube, Facebook land, I hope you guys enjoy those. We'll continue to do that throughout the rest of the season here on the Raider Review. That'll do it for us here. Let's take a look at the schedule upcoming for this week in sports. Thursday night, September 8th, or Thursday, Roane County Golf in the 17 match at Mingo Bottom, 4 p.m. for that start. Spencer at Williamstown at 4:30 in soccer, middle school soccer. Volleyball, Calhoun at Spencer, 6 p.m. Roane at Webster, that I think has been moved to next Monday. Football, middle school football action. Spencer heading to Ravenswood at 6:30 for kickoff. Walton will travel to Sherman at 6:30 for the first kick in middle school football. Friday night football action, obviously. Roane County heading over to Clay County. That'll be 7:30 p.m. kick. We'll be on the air with pregame coverage at 7:05 p.m. Cross country gets started for the first time on Saturday the 10th. They'll be in the Buffalo Creek Invitational at Clay County at 1:30 p.m. Monday, golf in a 4-team match at Roane County Country Club at 4. Williamstown at Spencer in middle school soccer at 5. Volleyball, Spencer Braxton at Calhoun for a try at 6 p.m. And football, Clay will come to Roane County High School's County Stadium for a JV contest at 6 p.m.
6:30.
6:30 p.m. Thank you, Coach. Tuesday, cross country, Roane at the Doddridge Invitational at 3:30. Roane at Nicholas in soccer and high school, 6:30 p.m. Volleyball, Calhoun at Roane at 7 o'clock p.m. That's a look at the upcoming schedule for Roane County sports next week. And we'll see you on Friday night, folks. Another edition of the Raider Review in the books. Okay, that's a minute 30.